going to ask you a question. Does that hurt? And you're going to go, ah, because you can't talk because they've got things in your mouth. But just laugh at that with them. Make it into a joke. So when they go into their mouth with the various tools, and then they do say, does that hurt? They're going to just smile and think, that's what Mum meant. That's what Dad meant when he said that would happen. You know, when you walk into a new building, you've moved, your company has moved, or you've moved on, and you walk into that new building, and for the first time, it is really terrifying. You've got to go up in the lift, you've got to find where you've got to go, where are the loos, all those things. When you've done it for 6 months, you do it as if, I mean, I can remember driving down roads and not even know how I got there, because I was obviously busily thinking about something else, but I knew the route so well that I would just get there. I think that's what happens with firsts. First suddenly becomes seconds, become thirds, and they don't scare us anymore. They're no longer firsts. And so I really wanted to try and get everyone to think about their first today. And I think by sharing that, we really will understand when I was younger, and it's a very brief moment to talk about this, but nobody ever told me, nobody ever set me up, nobody gave me the tools. That's why Jack and Water exists, to give kids the tools so that they are ready for those firsts and it's not scary. And so the more we talk about it, the more we all talk about it, even when adults talk about it to each other, we're giving each other therapy. We're just doing talking therapy in a room that's not costing us a lot of money. It's actually free. But the point is, it is still therapy. We're still talking to each other. We're still expressing our first and how it made us feel. That is community, and that is therapy. So over to you, Annie. You're now in charge, sir.
My friends, it just dawned on me because of amazing Sean that if you want your comments to show up on here, please go to my YouTube channel. Yeah, where's your YouTube channel, Annie? Where's your YouTube channel? Where we're meant to go? Here it is. Yes, go along. Because from there your comments will show on here. And look, we're going straight back to, I guess our gratitude that you're here, Paulette, whether you like it or not. Sean, it's amazing to have Paulette back. I agree. So I'm seeing her for months. So Coach K is here. Let's talk to Coach K. We lost her in a second. No, Coach K is still here.
She's there.
Coach K, talk to us. Yay. We see you. We can't hear you though. Don't know why. Your sound has gone somewhere. Your sound is somewhere else for a second. Yeah. That's all right.
What about now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. There's this thing Leah showed me. In case anyone ever has this issue, there's something with my computer that if you can't hear on StreamYard, there's a little arrow next to the mic that I sometimes have to go and check. But I wanted to say hello to everybody and welcome Paulette back. It's been a very long journey. And happy to have you back. Maybe I'll come back now. I miss my friend.
No, we'll miss you too, Coach K. We'll definitely miss you.
Yeah,
look in the part, my friend. Look in the part.
Yeah, and you definitely need to come back. Definitely.
Oh, I actually, Paulette, the comment you just made with the anxieties, because I know you well enough to know you do want to have this conversation today, in spite of what we're all saying, or wanting to welcome you back. And just to stay on topic, it resonated with me yesterday. I called someone I haven't saw since kindergarten that I've stayed connected with on Facebook over the years, because she lost a son. I saw on Facebook that she lost her son about a year ago, and so it had been on my heart to call her. And so I wanted to maybe propose the thing about how you're talking about the room is about children's anxieties. But I think that a lot of us, I know I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, I know I have a lot of childhood anxieties that I didn't even know existed. And so in me finding things or reconnecting with people from eras of my life or different parts of my childhood and rekindling positive memories, I noticed it kind of helped her heal. It doesn't take away like what she went through with losing her son, but to rekindle some of those good childhood memories so that we can re-implement those with kids of today, maybe something for us to do something with, because it just popped in my head when you were having that conversation, Paulette.
It's 100% relevant because we deal with these firsts and this fear, and we deal with it every day in our lives. But what we don't always realize is that we carry trauma and all the anxieties of all the firsts that have gone by before. So when we talk about, for example, if the first time you're asked to read in class and you have a stutter because of nervousness, you don't normally have a stutter, but because of nervousness, you will start to stutter. Can you imagine how that child would feel? It would be absolutely, soul destroying. And then every time thereafter, even going into adulthood, you are going to fear that that stutter might come back. And you might not stutter over every word, but it will be the occasional word. I remember reading out loud advertisement. I was reading a piece in, I can't even remember what the class was, but I remember reading the word advertisement, and the teacher corrected me and said advertisement. And then I said, yes, advertisement. And she said, no, an advertisement. And the more she went back and forth, the more I got tongue-tied. And in the end, every time I see that word, I like, okay, here we go. And it's ridiculous. It's a silly word. I could spell it forwards and backwards, but could I bloody well say it? No. And I can't say that it doesn't still to this day. When I see the word advertisement, I go, advertisement. Really have to think that through. So it shows you that those past traumas, and that's a very silly one to use as an example, but it's a real one. And it's one that everybody, if they think about it, has something in their past where, my joke yesterday about how much I loved you all. I said I think it was my little sign. I don't know if I can show you here. I don't know if everybody saw it. It said, "I love you with all my bum. I would say my heart, but my bum is bigger." Now, the joke is that my bum's disappeared. There's still some bum, but nowhere near as much bum. And it's quite funny because actually the joke is on me. But it's kind of like I like to take the mickey out of myself. I'd like to say the joke first before somebody else does, if that makes sense. You kind of preempt something before somebody gets the opportunity. And I think that goes back again to those childhood thoughts of when somebody that you just meet and they say something like, I don't know, what a big bum you've got or something, and not saying they would necessarily have scarred me for life, but maybe I'll always remember it. And it's those things that we don't realize how they carry forward. And it's really important as an adult, as a child. These are the things that can destroy people. And they seem silly and trivial, but they're not. And it has an effect. So, I think what you just said, Coach K, is absolutely right. You know, we have so much history, so much childhood trauma and childhood firsts, and they all, you know, let's say, for example, I'll be brief. You go into a classroom and nobody really smiles at you. Nobody really sort of shows you any kind of emotion or greeting. Can you imagine every time you go into a new office, every time you go into a meeting room, every time you're going to be wondering, is anyone going to smile at me? Is anyone going to give me some sort of positive affirmation here, or even a facial glance? Are they going to even look up at me? You know, am I completely invisible? You know, so don't ever think that what we talk about with children isn't relevant to what happened in our past when we were children, and everything we can do to arm our children with this knowledge makes their life in the future easier. Annie, over to you.
Again, you're also sensible, trying to move the conversation forward. I'm choosing to stay stuck in the welcome back Paulette mode. So Lisa says, I'm so happy that my sis Paulette Hallam is back with us. Made my day. And in brackets, it's like, yeah, and seeing you is nice too, Annie. Yes. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks. So I like Mike's comments. I don't know where to put it, but apparently it's too long for YouTube. So I don't know how I'm going to show it on here, really. Okay, the only way I can do it is by putting it here. See if that works. So, okay, there you go. So this is my, have you met Mike LeBlanc yet? I don't think you met him yet, Paulette. So Mike,
I don't think so.
A true star, true star. So I guess it says, it shows a different. Have I missed something, Mike? I'm not sure. Right. Okay. No. So it's almost just in 3 parts, right? Breaking news from the heart of compassion. That's you, Paulette. Continues to champion the confidence of every child. Her steadfast belief that kids should feel capable of managing life's smaller challenges. And then next part shows a deep respect for their growth and dignity. Through her advocacy, she builds not just resilience, but generations who believe in their own strength. That's a story we're celebrating every day. I agree with you. That's totally Paulette, right? No, thanks for your great words as always, Mike. Mike has a unique gift for elevating others. That's what I'll say for sure. Oh, my screen just moved. Don't do that, screen. Don't do that. I knew where I was. Jay's here. Our storytelling genius is here as well. So love and blessings to you. I'm so happy to see your face live digitally. Yeah, she's here, right? She really is here. And then so Mike says, so thankful Paulette has weathered the storms of health adversities. We really are. We really are. So glad you're back, Paulette. So a few more people here. Let's talk to Joni. And then so we can get to Festus. How you doing, Joni?
Hi. How are you doing, Paulette? Are you eating
a lot better?
normally?
Yeah, I'm getting there. We're not out of the woods, but we're certainly getting there.
Okay, so is your digestion like feeling okay, or is it still kind of bleh?
Yeah, there.
Bleh.
It's that one.
Okay, got it. Oh, sorry. Who was more scared, you or your husband?
Who was more scared? I think I take on the mother bear for everybody, so I worry about everybody else but me. So I was worried about Ben. I was worried about Charles. I hated seeing the look on their faces when they were like, "Oh gosh, Mum's really, really ill." That look that says they're scared. That I hate putting people through stuff. I hate it. I'd rather just like go in the corner and be quiet and just say to them, "I'll come out and talk to you when I'm better."
Yeah.
I don't like putting anyone through anything. So yeah,
Oh,
it was
that'd be
them.
great. I like push it. inside, I'm just like, I don't want to talk about cancer. I don't want to talk
No.
about sexual abuse. I don't want to talk about any of it.
No.
Though this platform I have, but it's not my children. So in front of your children, of course. But I'm sure your husband was wonderful to you and brought you wonderful little blankets when you were actually not at home. And
I have
that's
been
nice.
spoiled. I really
That's
have been
grateful.
spoiled.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And just in relation to what you were just saying, because I'll try to bring it back to your topic. Your first, so this is so silly, but I remember it. And I had gone to middle school. I had a best friend. Her name was Beth. And she came up to me in the lunchroom one of the first days. And I was like, oh my God, thank God you're here. Okay, so I'll go sit with you. She's like, no, I think our table's full. And I was like, what? She's like, you can sit with Annie over there. I was like, what? And she was like, haven't you met new friends yet? And I was like, I can't deal with this. And it's just like so trivial in my life now. You know, I have definitely seen this old friends many a time, and they're good human beings. So they're just, idiotic sixth graders. And I was, let's say, late to develop. And but it resonates when you are in that vulnerable state. So I always, caution my children to just don't say anything that immediately comes to your mind. If it's something mean, just keep it inside. Don't do it. Even though you may feel like silly or like, they can brush it off their shoulder. No, like things stick with you. And it can be very huge things. Like when my uncle licked frosting off my sister's face. No one believed us. We were like, this is creepy as fuck. And yeah, we did. No one believed us, but we both remember that. She was in 4th grade. And we're like, okay. So yeah, I just like, don't undervalue the meaning of, getting something thrown at you that may be hurtful, but very likely you'll get over it. Just like Paulette.
Yeah, absolutely. But the first, the creepy uncle, I mean, that is a gut feeling that you remember. I mean, realizing
You're
it's
like,
not the
nothing's right
mind.
with this.
No, it's not the mind, it's your gut. Your gut said, that was creepy as hell. And I didn't like it. We didn't like it. And we've never forgotten it, right? And that is your gut saying, that's not right. Yeah.
Not right.
And
Yeah.
and it would have given you that feeling to just watch that uncle from then onwards. You wouldn't have been the same around him. And, whether parents noticed it or not, you wouldn't have been the same because your gut would have given you that message. Whoa. Weirdo.
It was a wow.
Yeah.
It was a whoa moment. I was glad I walked in the kitchen when it happened because it was to my sister. And she was such an innocent little cute curly blonde haired girl. Is whoa. And we did tell my mom probably 30 years later. She didn't believe us. And that's after he committed suicide. And I was like, Mom, maybe you really did have some messed up problems. Like, we experienced it and it wasn't right. And then for my first story, teens can just be teens and they can be hard. They can be really hard. So, say la vie, we all go through that. But I'm glad I'm a grown up now.
Yeah.
I can agree with
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
You see, I was talking to my son the other day, and so literally a couple of days ago, and he's like, "How am I meant to work for the next 20 years?" I'm like, "You got 90 years to work." But I mean,
Yeah,
the
you
point,
got 20, bro.
the point he was making was that I think the kids try to see everything at once. They try to see it from beginning to end. So rather than thinking that every year I just do what I have to do, like that's like I guess the sensible adults would do. You know, they try and eat the whole elephant at once, and that's what I think. That's what petrifies them, because they're like, you know, all the what ifs come together all at once, and they expect to have an answer of clarity there and then. I'm saying that, but that's not how the world works, right? We know that's adults. You know, you literally live each day, do one thing at a time, and just that's how you get there in the end. And I think that kids, you know, we could do what support kids to just know that it's not, no, it's not, you know, want all or nothing. You know, and yes, of course, even if you failed, I'm just trying to tell my son, even if you fail, we'll deal with it then. But until I know, I mean, he's like, I can't keep the energy up forever. I'm like, you can. We all do.
The
thing is, Penny, that he needs to fail.
Mm.
Sorry. I say he needs to fail because
agree.
that's how we learn, right?
Clearly,
that's the first thing.
Paulette, we've had
second
a
thing-
lot of talking about failure since you've been gone. A lot. I'm like, I had failed at this. I had failed at this. I had failed at this. Like, oh my God, I lost all my money. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And, you know, you kind of figure it out because you're smart and kind.
I want to go back to Eddie's comment, if it's okay, about his son.
in.
I want to introduce can you not do that? That throws me. I like to see people because I'm a conversationalist.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
Put it back on the 6 screens, please, because Paulette has her camera on. Thank you. I'll turn my phone for that reason. Thank you. But I want to introduce the idea of explaining more to kids. And the reason why the way that it hit me is because you and I, Annie, were specifically having a room one day, and we were talking about strategy, because I've been a strategist since I was a kid. And you made a comment that you're not born with it. And actually, you weren't born with it, but some people are. And so when you explain things to children or allow them to see the bigger picture, they may, in fact, help you increase your process because they don't have the fear of failure because they've never felt before. In fact, right now I'm helping an old client out with his 2-year-old, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I watched the way this child leaps off everything, just fearless. She's an Igbo baby from Nigeria. And so when she gets on the couch, I got to constantly watch because she's not afraid, and she just trusts that I'm going to be there to catch her. And so sometimes when children do things and they're asking questions, because I was a child that was suppressed, which is probably why I hadn't been on here in a while, because I used to take the projections of adults and really think that they were true. And the truth is, they're just your perception. Even if we are an adult, we can learn so much from kids, and sometimes explaining things, they actually are put in our life to whiteboard. We can whiteboard with any being around us to grow. And we, in fact, can grow a lot faster when we embrace everything around us with the idea of, let me just explain, or let me see, because you'll start explaining it and it might not help him. It actually might help you. So it's just a little thought.
It's absolutely true. It works absolutely both ways. And that's really how emotional intelligence is kind of like a well-oiled machine. It becomes natural to you. And some people say, oh, I didn't have any of that. What is this emotional intelligence? But actually, it's about learning to be in control of your emotions in a situation where there is a potential of something going wrong, but also trying to teach them that actually that's quite high. And if you fall, it will hurt. And if you get hurt, then I'm going to be sad. And you might have a broken leg. So neither of us is going to win this game, right? So how about we just don't jump that high? We stay on the sofa or whatever. But it's that principle of learning. And it's, I would say to people when I was working with investments, you know, put a little in. What are you prepared to lose? Right? You don't chuck everything on red and go, oh, it didn't come in on red. You know, you don't take the risks. And risk management is all about not taking the risk. And we are trying to teach children not to take risks. You know, don't go down that dark alley, because it's dark and it's long, and you've got to have an escape route if there's something down there you don't want to see, right? So don't go down the alley. Just find a different route, you know?
But
and I always...
it's worth it to tell them why, though, because
always tell them why. You
well,
don't
I
know
got
what's down there. Absolutely. But the thing that I say about the what you know, when I say the reason we put in the book, what would Walter do? It's that momentary stop, think, breathe, plan. Okay, I want to run. I know I want to run. If I run now, I'll just start running, right? And you're running. But where are you running to? If you stop and look around and you see that that is a wall over there, but that is a door over there. So let's run towards the door. Let's not run towards the wall, because guess what? They're going to catch me because I'm going to be up against the wall. And that's the thing about slowing your thoughts down and giving yourself the opportunity to say, okay, I need a plan. I need to make a plan. And that's what would Walter do is all about, is making a child stop and think and ask themselves, what would Walter do? Okay, I'm heading for the door. Yeah. And that's kind of where I know I talk about box breathing and I talk about techniques, but that's sometimes so hard to get children to take in, or they'll sit there going, like, you know, huffing and puffing as if you're trying so hard to explain in for one, out for one. And in the end, I found myself saying, what would Walter do? That's all of the time you need to make a plan, right? And that's what, you know, that fear is asking you to do. And that fear of going back to why do we have fear? First, the fear, you know, that's basically why I started the topic with first, because that's what they bring up. They bring up that topic of fear. Any back to you, sir?
I tell you, there's many more comments and many more friends here. So Mike says, risk management is mitigating risk by knowing what they are and making a decision as to the appropriate actions. I agree. You know, we can't stop kids taking those risks right now because they have to face their fears. We all do. And I think this conversation, as Joni said, probably applies, you know, more to the teenagers who have to start making choices in life, right? And even to us as adults. I think many of us, we have many great ideas, but because it's our first, we ditch them very instantly. You know, so we know maybe we should, but no, we ditch them because we think, oh, you know, do I want to write my first book? Oh no, it'd be too hard. So, no, so I'm not going to do that. I'll do what's easy. I'll do the normal things that come to me. You know, but I think that goes for everything. You know, the person who wants to start their show, the person who wants to climb Everest. You know, we have these great ideas how we can impact more people, but we'll talk ourselves out of it. Well, nearly all of them. You know, so I find these days just saying yes and embracing the fear, embracing the fear, and, you know, facing up to it and saying, "Yep, of course I'm scared." If you're doing something new, you know, there's anxiety naturally. You know, but we can't let that cripple us, even as adults. Kids, especially, we can't let the kids be crippled by that fear into doing nothing. because they must, we must face out. Life's about facing first, as Paulette said. We must learn to genuinely face them with what if it goes well rather than what if it goes badly. That's my take. Mike says box breathing.
And box breathing does work absolutely to calm the whole anxiety down. Absolutely. But children, it's very difficult to teach. Certainly, between 5 and 12-year-olds to even sit down long enough to go through what box breathing is. So that's why the What Would Walter Do is really just a way of saying to them, stop. Give yourself a minute, make a plan, then move forward. And if you are standing there and your legs just won't move because you're that crippled with fear, then that's how we absolutely have to say, how do you get those legs to move? How about we start with lifting one leg up and then putting it down, and then lifting the other leg up and putting that one down. And then you see these children start to say to you, I can do it. I can move now. And it's just that moment of marching on the spot. Now they can run, whoo, and they're out, But it's getting that feeling of I can't move. I'm crippled with fear. I cannot move. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it really is.
Sharon Rose. Hello, Sharon.
Welcome. So mean people suck. Of course they do, Joni. That's Joni's point earlier, right? Festus, I'm going to come to you. I'm praying Nigeria Internet is going to play ball with us today, right? Festus is my new friend. He's a genius. So I'll let him say what he wants to say, of course. So the body never lies, Paulette. That's the truth, right? And I think this. So Sharon Rose mentioned critical thinking as something that we need to give kids. And so I think Mike said
absolutely
something about, when walking a child through maybe their fears or at least their firsts in a moment. It's a great teaching moment, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
It's a great chance.
You are the OG.
He really is. No, he really is.
Is that why I get to call him a goat? Because I got called a goat.
The old goat. The OG. And just call him the goat, right?
I said to somebody, "Did you just call me a goat?" I was all offended.
Sharon Rose says, my twins were daredevils at 2 and couldn't stop them. So just solves it from the end, giving them a soft landing. People make mistakes, right? People will, we use that word fail. It's not really fail. The things won't go the way we necessarily want every time. But we must learn to sort of land and then come back again, right? So welcome, Nick. Yes, it's nice to hear Paulette's voice for sure. Fail fast and learn from your failures.
Absolutely.
Yes. And he's got worse, Mike. My devil's advocate position. But Paulette knows me well enough. She knows I'm one of those people who I'm here to have fun. Anyways, let's talk to Festus. Festus, how are you doing? Are we winning today?
Yeah, of course. I'm wonderful.
Look at that. You're winning. Look, meet Paulette and meet more of our friends.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here. Shout out to thank you, Johnny. I salute you. Hello to Coach K. Hello to Mr. Calm. Hello to Annie, the man with deep wisdom and vision. Thank you so much. Paulette, I salute you. It's my first time seeing you, meeting you. It's amazing. I've read a lot of comments, and you are that amazing person doing amazing things. God bless you. Cyrus, thank you. God bless you. All right. I just want to say something here.
Oh my God, I didn't say hi to Cyrus. Hi, Cyrus.
Okay, nice one. I was almost like I was experiencing another first. Maybe I was just that child experiencing first again, because I walked in here noticing these are all new faces. I've not been on this space before. I've not met Paulette, and It was kind of and the topic too. I was kind of I decided to hang around in the other corner of the room, try to listen. Let me tap the energy because the fear of not coming here to screw things up. I can't embarrass Mr. Any for the invite, so I had to be careful. So I kind of my experience of children experiencing their first is quite fresh by this um, particular experience. And one thing I've come to notice about children, because I think I have like 6 or 7 of them that I have been mentoring in digital skill, and I can say one thing of a fact that one of the things that create fear in children, well, it's this is what I have seen, is that it's when they realize that they are about to do something wrong, but from the start they don't think about fear. They just go right in and do it. So and they kind of have that daring spirit until they just begin to feel like something is going messy, and maybe when they realize an adult is beginning to call their attention to something they're about to do wrong. That's when the fear grip in, and you see them start being afraid and well, all that. But I think above all, this is a very important topic, and I feel privileged to be here to learn and also get to meet one person who has taken this area of life to the next level. I'm talking about you, Paulette. It's amazing to know that you are really working so hard in this area to make sure that children get the ability to think critically from an early stage. It's amazing. I can say something before I drop the mic is when I was mentoring these children, one thing I used to tell them is this: I'm not here to teach you a skill. I'm trying to teach you how to think. Because I tell them something, if I teach you these skills and I just focus on teaching you a skill, you most likely are going to forget. And the funny thing is, these things are always updating. Like what I'm teaching you today may not be what you will be using tomorrow by the time you grow up. So I'm trying to give you that critical thinking ability to be able to say, if I see something like this, I can do this, I can do that. Let me just try this, let me try that. So that was more about my mentoring approach to them when it comes to digital skills. So above all, I'm so glad to be here. So that's just me signing up. Thank you.
Don't go just yet first. I'd like to ask you a question. When you were growing up, can you remember anybody showing you something and not showing you the way that you're now showing these children? So these children that you're mentoring, are you doing it in a different way to the way that you was mentored or taught?
Yes, absolutely. I can't remember having the, I have this upbringing that is more about a rule, right? You do this or you don't do that. But the only area I would say I have a great privilege to be myself, like I'm trying to give to these children, is my father, because he kind of give you a room to be yourself in a lot of instances. And sometimes he will just come around and say, well, you see this, if you go this way, it will help you in life. If you go that way, not so good. So that is one area. But so for me to conclude, let me say the approach I'm using for these kids, I don't think anyone has used that for me, because I can leave them with my tools, right? My tools to do anything they want to do with it. I only give them one instruction. When you start, you can read English, you can read, right? All of them can read. So I just say this to them. If you get to a point where the language is not something you understand, call my attention. You see how funny that is, right? So they have the privilege to do almost anything with this gadget, because I just had this I still do have this confidence that they were not going to damage the tool. And even if they did, I believe we can bring it back, like something like that. So I felt, let me give them the opportunity. So I don't think I haven't had that kind of experience myself. And that's why I'm so passionate about giving it to other people. Because when I became someone who
Absolutely.
tapped in, I'm going so far. So sorry, I'm about to drop.
No. I think it's fantastic that you are doing it your way, and your way is the right way. And what is so interesting is that you've taken, maybe it was your father giving you that initial instruction, but ultimately giving the children the opportunity to just have a go. What's the worst that can happen? I think that is a really great way to teach. And then if you fail, okay, or you mess it up, we can put it right. But if you don't try, you'll never know. And I think that is a really good way of mentoring, and well done you. And it'll work, because these are life skills. We always think that we're talking to kids, or we're talking to children, you're giving them life skills. Like I said, the word advertisement can trip me up. Just if it wouldn't now, because I'm not reading it and just saying it. But if I saw it on a bit of paper, I know I would stutter, because I just know what it did to me in front of the whole class. I was like just wanting the floor to open up, and but you have to get over those things. And one of the ways you do that is by giving kids the opportunity to try. And well done you. And I hope to spend a lot more time in your company.
Mm.
Well done, Festus. And I wanted to also add, with respect to failure, failure is not an end. It's just the beginning of an opportunity. When you fail, it means that there's a problem and it's an opportunity to resolve it. In society, that's how we should approach failure.
Absolutely.
It is not an end, it is a beginning. It is a beginning to resolve a problem. In every in every way of life. Even when you were beginning as a baby, you saw your parents were walking, so you attempted to get to that stage. And every point, everything that you did in order to get there, rolling over from your back to your front, kneeling on your two legs, crawling, and then eventually standing. And then it's like, okay, I attempted to stand, but I went down. And then you went to the chair, you crawled to the chair, you used the chair to stand up. But then you attempted to walk, you fell down again. You just kept on trying over and over. It was an opportunity. You failed? Yes, I failed, but I can do it. So let me just get this. This is just an opportunity for me to do it better. So let me figure out a way to do it better. That's how you should think. That's how you should approach life. That's how we should teach our children. Failure is not a big thing. It's not a big deal. What it means is that there is an opportunity for you to fix the problem so that you can make the world, the universe, a better place. That's all it means.
Absolutely.
And you do it in your own way, just like you're teaching the children. My father used to always tell me this: Michael, when you have a problem, when you always ask questions when you do not understand. Always ask questions when you do not understand. What happens when you ask questions? It promotes thinking. It promotes change. It promotes advancement.
But opportunity.
Opportunity too. There you go. So Festus, that's very good. I am really, I'd like to get to know you too. So I'm on board with Paulette.
We all need to get to know Festus. As Sharon Rose says, "Yay, Festus! Brilliant share. Failure is a learning opportunity every time, right?" And I said, I love your point about giving kids teaching, I guess, thinking skills. It's ways to think rather than thinking doom, rather than expecting the worst. We need to get them to have the skill to see the opportunity, see the potential, see the joy that could, see the good that could come out of the situation, rather than, what if it goes wrong every time. So as Mike says,
I can remember Ben being terrified of cross country. Cross country was like the
I
worst
still
thing in the
am.
world for
I
him.
still am. 26 miles. Not that.
He hated cross country. But do you know something? There were parents that used to let their kids take the day off, so the kids didn't have to do cross country. They'd send him a sick note or whatever, you know. And I used to make this child do it. And I knew that he was going to hate me at least for a few days afterwards. His body would hurt, and I'm going to come last. I always come last. And I say, no, you're usually in the last 4. You know, let's just try and make it the last 3 this time. Or, you know, hey, you know, why not just do your best, you know? And I can remember, you know, yeah, it would have been so much easier for me to have just gone, yeah, right, sick note, don't go, he hates it, right? But the answer is there are going to be things in life that we have to face, that we have to do. What lesson are they teaching their children by writing a sick note and saying, don't do the cross country because you don't want to do it? The lesson has to be, you have to do the things that you don't want to do. That's life, right? That's the lesson. And, you know, sometimes he would come 3rd from last, 4th from last. I think once he was 6th from last. And then when he got to the senior school, there was like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 kids running and not 300. And I would be like terrified there'd be 1,000 children and he'd still be last. And I would be terrified. But they used to make it fun. They'd make it the Cancer Awareness Week. Everyone could wear pink, and they could, and there were people like tied their legs together and running as like 4 legs, and there were people would jump about in pink sacks. So do you know what? It didn't matter who was first and who was last. They'd made it into a fun event, and so he never minded doing it. Then he used to look around for a pink tie to wear or something. You know, it was such a change, and that's a lesson. That's a lesson about life. There are going to be things you don't want to do, but if you go and hide in a corner, you're never going to face them, and that is not a good lesson to learn. You have to be prepared to put your children in difficult situations so that they're prepared for life. So that was cross country. And I'm sorry, Ben, I tell it that tale too many times, but it's true.
Yeah, so I like my comments now. Being real, being authentic in an age appropriate way is the way forward. Like I just did with my cross country and marathon running experience, a lack of. No thanks, I'm all right. I know what it's like to do those first, and we all do, right? I mean, just sharing with the kids now what our experience is. You know, you know, Mike calls it a teacher moment, and it can build trust. I agree with you, Mike, for sure, right? Again, I don't know, Godfrey, Simoanje, I think, you know, whichever one. So let me know which one you go by as your first name. So it takes much gratitude to make children fight anxiety. So far, we're creating a safe space where children can share their feelings, receive emotional support, and learn simple coping skills through play, guidance, and care. So by surrounding them with love and understanding, a comment Mike made earlier, we can restore their confidence and bring healing to their hearts. Thank you so much, my friends. And I said that is a good way of looking at it for sure. Sharon Rose says asking questions can promote thinking, but in some cases, intimidates and puts people in a defensive position. Cyrus, you and I know what that sounds like, because it shines a light on what they don't know. So not everyone is excited about discovering a knowledge gap and filling it, but still ask the questions anyway, right? Yeah, I agree. I think this is about now trying to be honest with yourselves means looking within, you know, and addressing. That's the only way you're going to develop the skills Festus talked about. So the thinking skills, the feeling, how to deal with your emotions, and how to deal with things, right? As Sharon Rose says,
if you don't participate, you'll never learn. And yeah, sometimes it is uncomfortable, but if you ask the question and you see the child their eyes are moving around the room, or you see a vacant look comes over their face that says, I'm lost here, I don't know the answer, rephrase it. And when you rephrase it, they might get the answer. And if they still don't get it, give it to them. But give it to them in a way that they think they got it themselves. So if you ask them the question of what is 4 and 4, and they look at you blankly and no clue, and you say, okay, can you do 2 and 2? And they go, of course I can, that's 4. Yeah, great. Okay, so that's half the sum, right? Now let's add another 2. And now we've got the 4 that we had plus another 2. What does 4 plus 2 make? Oh, 6. Great. Okay. Now let's add another 2. We've got 8. Well, the answer to 4 plus 4 is 8 because it's 4 lots of 2s. And that child will think like, yes, I made it, right? Exactly. Fingers, count the fingers. And it's the way of making that child realize they can do it. And they should be confident enough to say, I'm not sure. But you know something? Most children would rather go inwards. They feel their skin and their cheeks redden, and they will feel embarrassed to say, I don't know. And I would promote definitely, if you can say, I'm not sure, can you show me? Can you help me? And then you get the help to get you to the answer. That is a far better way of learning than having that question thrown at you. And then, what do you mean you don't know? Ben, I'll give you a very quick example. He got a reputation for being cocky. Now, if you know Ben, is not a cocky child, but he's very knowledgeable, and he used to have this obsession with countries and capital cities, and because of the autism, he needed detail, what currency they have, what what rivers are there, and you name it. So they had their first Spanish lesson. They'd never had Spanish before, and the Spanish teacher says, can anybody tell me where Spain is on the map? Hey! Up goes Ben's hand. So come on then, you can show me. And what's your name? Oh, my name's Ben. Goes up, puts the finger where Spain is. Does anybody know the capital city of Spain? Up goes Ben's hand. Madrid, Madrid, Madrid. He's beyond excited because he knows the answers. And she's like, okay, Ben, well, we know you know. Let's see if anybody else knows, and nobody said anything. And then she said, does anybody know whereabouts Madrid is in Spain? Can anyone point to Madrid in Spain? And Ben got up, walked to the front of he was 7. He got up, walked to the front of the classroom, and this is what he said, and I swear to you, I'll never forget this. He said, hey, diddle diddle, Madrid's in the middle. And I was like, oh, that's what I used to say. What I used to say, oh my gosh. And you just want to like, oh. And the teacher told me that when I went to pick him up, she said, oh, Ben did make us laugh today in Spanish. Oh, did he? Why? But riddles and fun ways of learning. What I did every night before I went to bed, he had a globe. He'd spin the globe, we'd look at the globe, put his finger on it, and we'd talk about that country. That's what he liked to do. That was my son. So, but the teacher said, when he made that little riddle up, and I was like, no, he didn't make it up. That's what we used to say at home. But the point I'm making is, and it's not to take away from Ben, but it gives you an example of how a child can get seen as, oh, that's the cocky, clever one. No, he just knew the answers and he was excited to participate. And then that excitement had to be sort of, you know what sharing is, don't you? And it'd be like, yep. And I'm like, well, sharing means that everybody gets a go, right? Oh, yeah, I remember. Sorry, Mum. That was the end of it, But if nobody else puts their hand up, fair game. So that was how we learned it was okay to put your hand up or not. But, but we haven't heard from Cyrus. We ought to give Cyrus a chance to
We
speak.
all love Ben. We Cyrus to go, but we are going soon, my friends. My next
And I
event
do
is
have one question to ask whoever
yeah,
the audience is. So
we'll
it's
come to you.
Cyrus. I'll come after Cyrus.
So right. So Mike says apparently I come off as intimidating. I'll try to listen first, I guess, and do the Steelman thing, just repeat the position as I understand it, and the Starman thing, which is trying to suss out the emotional genesis for their position. Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at things, right? It's not just
Absolutely.
the twin side. So there is also trying to address the emotional side, probably as important. Cyrus, you have been requested to speak by Paulette. Are you there? Cyrus? 5, 4, 3.
I can hear you, Cyrus, but you just need to
2,
be a little louder.
1.
Can you hear me, guys?
Hey, we can hear you now.
I can hear you. Well
Just
done.
in time. Do it quickly. We've got 5 minutes left of the show, so.
Yeah, sure. It's a pleasure to be here, and as I said before, it's lovely to have Paulette back again. A little bit of normality, back to normal again. And it's lovely to see you resuming your online events, which are fantastic. Like I posted in the comments, Paulette's trilogy is available on Amazon. Please get 2 copies, guys. One for your own children and one for a child who's not blessed and fortunate enough to have a parent like you. So keep an eye on those who don't have parents like yourself. So that's one thing. Another thing is, when you're scared, or when I'm scared, the adult word for it is being worried, isn't it? Not all of us admit that. Okay, there are times that we are scared, and the fear sometimes takes over. But the important thing is, what does it take over? It takes over your perception of outcome. So you feel like we all of us we want to have control over the outcome of stuff in our life. It could be finding the right spouse. It could be keeping our partner. It could be making sure our child is going to pass the test, like we have a say in it. It depends how ready they are. So we want to pass a driving test and get a driving license. We want to make sure our children are sorted and well taken after us when we're not around anymore. And we always want to control the outcome, but the outcome is not something we can control at all times. We can't. It's just impossible. It's a statistical impossibility to control the outcome at all times. You can't do it. So when fear takes over, my recommendation and what I do is, and I've learned it from people smarter than me, right? So which is plenty out there. I've learned from them. Just visualize control, not the outcome. Just visualize, just like Paulette teaches. Visualize your breathing. Just what would Walter do, right? So in different, like in multiple syllables, you are breathing as if you are talking in syllables, right? In segments, and you are breathing like that's what snipers do in war zones. They breathe in fours and sixes, right? So and definitely the amount of adrenaline in your blood when you're scared, if you inject it to a mouse, that mouse with that small body will die, honestly. So when you're scared, adrenaline amount spikes. And what does adrenaline need? Needs motion. So you go ahead and move your body. Just go from one room to another. Change your physical location. Your fear amount subsides. It goes lower. I promise you. And the outcome is not something you can always control. Try your best to focus on the control over your own fear. And that fear is normally false evidence appearing real. 85, 86% of fears never materialize. Okay, so Don't let it take over, because that will shrinks you and enhances an outcome, enhances the size of an outcome which is out of your control, and then you feel kind of shrinked, and you feel very small, in comparison to that fear. And most of your fears never materialize. Please do not worry. Thank you, guys.
I think that we all anticipate what the outcome would be, and that's the worst thing we can ever do, because anticipating is guessing, and you assume the worst, because we all do. That's by nature who we are. So it's really important to not have that, the worst case scenario in your mind. Try and bring it 1 or 2 steps back to the immediacy, the reality, and then work along, what do I need to do? That's strategic thinking, and that's critical thinking, and that is using your emotional intelligence of what you've learnt through the years, whether you're a child or an adult, it's the same thing. Don't try to over anticipate what the outcome will be, because the outcome might actually be very different. Joni, I know you're desperate. Before we shut up, over to you.
Oh, I'm not desperate. No, gosh. So I feel like since you've been gone, Annie was laughing. He's like, I didn't know how many things you did, Joni. And I was like I'm a little ADD. Like I like to compress my schedule into a bunch of different things. And one is I volunteer 1 week or 1 day a week with a homeless intake shelter called DuPage Pads here. And it is, it's the biggest homeless intake shelter outside of Chicago. And so it's big, but basically we don't house people overnight. We let them like have breakfast or lunch. We let them have a shower. So yeah, we take all their information, their kids can play in our playroom, but I really love working the teenagers. And so my question is, so I have learned a lot about these teens. Now, mostly like it really is a mix. It really is a mix. It's a 30-30-30 mix of Mexicans, Black, and white. And so I'm just like, guys, if you get yourself into trouble, like if you're just like somewhere where things are going wrong, you run the fuck out of there. You do not want to get caught by the police and have that on your record. You just do it. And I think that's the right advice to give in America, because like the minute stuff goes on your record, it doesn't go away. And I don't know if that's what you guys would choose. I would obviously say, don't be around that, but fuck, you're homeless. You're burning something like just for fun, like in like a park, and the police come, and then you get to be taken to jail. You're 15, 16 years old, and your life is sort of over. You're already in the system because you're homeless. And so I just was curious if anyone had any input on that. And that's kind of my thoughts, but maybe I'm doing things wrong. I don't know.
I don't think I'm really equipped to say how things are in the States, because I get quite political, so I have to be a bit mindful of that. But what I would say is that right now, yeah, they would be scared. And right now there is a risk that if they
They're
did get
always
caught,
scared.
but I mean, even more so.
Homeless,
Because homeless,
scared.
do they have papers? Are they legit,
They
legals?
don't know. Their mom lost them 10 years ago. They don't know.
So
They're
this is
kids.
the thing. This is why someone who is in a senior position, who, if their parent can say, yeah, they're legal. Yeah, we do. I've lost the paperwork, but we're legal. Go find the paperwork. Let's go investigate. Let's get the
But
people.
Paulette, it was lost in a suitcase that was like it disintegrated.
But it should be on a computer system
It
somewhere.
should be, and they don't know necessarily
But
how to do
what
that.
I'm trying to say is, rather than be so scared that they are illegal and they've got no paperwork, maybe the answer is it gets somebody down there who can help. Not somebody who's.
And I try to help. I am like the lowest of the totem pole, so that's like I just love the teens, and I'm just like, here's some tampons.
I think run is not a bad answer to most things in that situation. The problem is, are they running straight into trouble, or are they running away from trouble? Are they running closer
to trouble for
to a
fun?
problem? We don't know.
Trouble is fun, at that age.
Well,
right?
I think at the moment, if they actually sit down and think about the consequences of that trouble and where they could end up.
When you're 14. Okay, so if anyone in the audience has anything to say, like just say, do I tell them to run, high heel it out of there?
No,
or
please try to mind your business. If you there to help and you're a volunteer, like I teach with kids that are in the same situation, and I'm also a CASA for Tarrant County Court. If you are there to volunteer and help, do what you said you were going to do, and then go and find authority to help. If you tell them to run, your ass gonna be locked up. Period. So you just gotta go. You have to keep your word. If
but
they
that's
have a
like
program, if they have a program and you agree to go and volunteer for that program, then you should be of integrity and do what you said you were going to do. And if you feel like there are children that need extra assistance, there are channels that you can go to be the source they need. And you can also share life skills with them as children to make them make better decisions, because to say trouble is fun is wild as fuck. I'm sorry about this. Like,
I don't think trouble is fun. I don't.
I'll let you talk. But it's like I deal with middle schoolers all the time that think that trouble is fun. And as an adult, I paint a picture of where that type of fun will take you. It's going to take you straight to jail. And if there's an opportunity that you may not be legal in America, it's not going to take you to jail. It's going to take you to slavery, because the only way you can be a slave in America right now is if you get locked up. And if you're homeless, the plan for homeless people is to lock them up for free labor. So if you encourage that behavior,
I agree. That's why I'm like, you know what? The best chance you have is if police come, get out of there. But I don't want them to commit crime.
But creativity is fun. Encourage their creativity, because those kids can do things like go take out people's trash for money, go ask to wash cars for money. There are things they can do that are fun and legal and will result in a positive.
I agree. I bring
in more trouble.
Like my watercolors, and like we do something totally ridiculous like on paper so that I can see all of their amazing creativity, because they don't have that chance. But I'm sorry, the police here in America, they are not on those kids' side. So I thank you for telling me that, and I will contemplate on that.
No worries. Sometimes we all need to hear it, because the police in America didn't just get like this today. I grew up with police in America that are just how they are behaving now. They just did that in Black neighborhoods before. So this is not something.
You're just like, oh, you're the village police. You're the DuPage County police. Oh, you're Chicago police. Like, where do I go? Your state's attorney. Like, it's nuts. And these kids, they don't know what's going on. They're like, where's my dad? Oh, he might have been transferred down to Cook County. He might be here. And I'm just like,
gotta be honest and say, I don't know. Yeah, you don't.
Which I do. Yes. But it's just,
because we can sometimes take our trauma from somebody else's situation and then project it on them on top of their own trauma. When the reality is, in spite of however it may make you feel, it's not about you. It's only about them. And so, like for me as a CASA, that's someone that advocates for children that are in custody of the court. And the only dog I have in the fight is that child. And so, but in order for me to highly help that child at my highest capability, I, as the adult, have to follow every rule in place, or I will no longer be in a position to even be a voice for them. And sometimes you may just need to be there to listen to them. Like sometimes they may just need to talk about it. I've had to learn that it's not always my responsibility to come up with the end game solution. Sometimes we just need to listen if there is nothing that we can really do to not make the situation worse.
So cereal works. Like if you want to
come with me, this is safe. But if you don't know it's safe and they're already in a bad situation, the last thing you want is their blood on your hands for trying to navigate a system that's designed for something else. You got to figure out what the rules are and then play those rules for that game.
I know the rules in Illinois. I know them. They are completely unfair to any child. Completely unfair.
Well,
but
a lot of
I
stuff
try to have a bowl of cereal,
but it's not for this platform right now.
Right. Okay. Yep. Love you, Paulette.
I'm sorry. Not at all, because we are still talking about children. We're just talking about older children.
Teenage.
But the biggest and most important thing that we can try and do is support them. And yes, entertain, curate things they want to do. But if there is a chance that they are legal and they are here legally and they can get that paperwork, then they don't need to run unless they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. And if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing because they think that's fun, we need to educate them that trouble isn't fun. Trouble will take you to one place, and that is jail. So my view is, and it may not be the right place for me to say because I don't know, but my immediate thought goes to education. So let's educate them to try and do better. Let's try and support them. I know they're homeless. I know they're scared. They're probably hungry. They're probably angry and hangry and all the other things. But the one thing we can do, if they come to a center to have a meal and a conversation, during that conversation, we can try and find out a bit about their background so we can try and find out whether or not they are legal. Because that is surely, especially at this moment in time, with everything that's going on, if they can prove and evidence that they are legal and they should be there, then that means they don't have to run so bloody fast because they got a bit of paper that says, I've got every right to be here. I'm just homeless.
That doesn't matter shit here. It doesn't matter at all. Like they are taken and their parents are taken and it's just disrupting them in such an inside way. And it's making me feel like so frustrated because these kids wouldn't have to make that choice if this wasn't going on. But
how about rather than finish this room on this particular situation, I believe Coach K has so much knowledge and so much experience of working with children of this age and with different backgrounds and with very different situations. And we could have a Zoom together where we could try and come up with some suggestions. That you've been talking about coming back, well, there's your reason to, because we've got kids that need our help. And I'm in the UK, so I can do diddly squat, but I bet you I can put some input in there somewhere, somehow, right? And then Coach K can put her input, and you've got the kids' ear. The kids like you. The kids, they feel like you're one of them. Joni's good fun. Joni's a laugh. That means you've already got their ear. So you've got the opportunity.
I am the laugh. That is true. We could play like slap, hopscotch, whatever, double dutch. I try to get in there. I get wrapped up.
Playing is part of learning, right? And that isn't trouble. None of that stuff you're talking about is trouble, and that won't get them into trouble. But I understand what you're saying is the risks are very high right now. But if we can
Burning
get
something on public property is trouble. And then they will get listed again in the system. And once they're already in the system, but it's frustrating. So
well, Martha, I know is doing loads of stuff with this,
Sorry.
right? So that's okay. Martha
myself.
is doing loads of stuff with this. I know Coach K is doing loads of work with this. You're obviously doing lots of work. What we need to do is have a room
Once a
about the
week.
topic and try and work out how we can come up with some support.
Well, the class that I teach for adults and kids, it really spins off. It teaches them skill stacking and entrepreneurship, because everything with me always comes down to solutions based. And I teach kids how to take their creativity and turn it into a business for money. And so the whole thing about my class, whether it's a child doing or an adult doing it, it's about seeing the person that's doing it, because the person is the business. And these systems, or we're taught to put ourselves into a box. Many of us are actually multifaceted, but we get so stuck on labels that you cut off all the other avenues. And so what I do is I pull out the stuff that's inside of a person and say, you know what I see? Because what we see in ourselves and what others see in us is totally different. And I'm just a living testament to it when I got to asking people what they see when they see me, you know? And so I just turn around and in favor do that to others. It's like, oh, well, I see a violinist. Like, you may not have any other skill, but maybe you play an instrument that you've never even tried to play before. And maybe people will pay you to play that instrument. Or maybe you draw in a way, or draw people in a way that people will pay for. There are ways that people can help themselves when they're open and willing to other perceptions, because we don't necessarily default to negative. We have failed, and life has taught us that this is possible if you try. But in reality, we all start off and we are all born not walking, and we all fall many times before we walk. And then yet here we are still standing, walking, and doing the things that we didn't think we could do when we came into this world. And so we have to be a lot less quick to adapt to the possibility of what could go wrong, because there's 9 other possibilities that can go right. Only one can go wrong, but we got 10 fingers, like 9 can go right out of very little thing. And we have to just become more educated and be okay with educating others in a way that it does not suppress the things that are different, but in fact, we bring it out to the table and say, hey, what if I take my idea and mix it with yours? That may be her solution. You know, we just have to stay on a positive perspective. And in this day and time, things are designed for us to be fearful. Like the things that we see on the news and social media are designed to protect fear. And so if you know that, you can't do that and say that and then say authentic. That's an oxymoron.
Right.
I got a little bit
of. I would just say one thing about this, okay, and then we'll have to call it a day, because I know Annie's got another room to go. But let's just say outside where you have your food and the showers and whatever you have, that means you've got water there, right? Let's just say that you set up a car wash. The fun you'd have with sponges and washing up liquid or whatever else you've used to wash cars with, and then 2 or 3 kids can be washing the cars and sort of making them all look shiny and lovely, and you can do it for, I don't know what you charge, $10, whatever, and then all that goes into a bucket, and at the end of the time they're there, they will see that bucket's got a lot of money in it. And you can split that money between the children, and it was still fun. They were entertained. They probably threw a sponge at each other, and they're probably all as drenched as can be. So suggest showers afterwards and clean clothes, hopefully. But the point is, you can do something with that energy, as opposed to be just thinking about worst case scenario. let's, as Coach K said, there's options, and I'm a great believer in trying to find something where you can maybe give them some clues about learning and money and what you can do, to make them feel valued and valuable because they can do something. 3, earn some money so they can actually sort of go out there and have some fun with the money. But also, you know, the car wash starts off being 4 cars, but when people see the sign that says you'll get the car cleaned for, I don't know, $12.50, you're going to have people queuing up. And then all of a sudden, they've got a business. And rather than be out on it causing trouble or making trouble, they'll be there every day at the shelter. And outside the shelter will be the best car wash, and it'll be known all over town. Now, if that means that the kids that are coming to where you are illegals, then I worry that there's a possibility that, yes, they every time they come to your place for food, they put themselves at risk, because if they're illegals and people know that illegals are going to be coming because they're homeless, then they're, as you say, they could be swapped up at any time. But, you know, just like Coach K said, let's look at the positives. Let's find the fun. Let's find the positives. Find out what they're good at. What do they want to do? What would they do if they got the opportunity? And just instead of it being about running, which, you know, I get running. I know why we run. We're fearful and but the trouble, stay away from trouble, definitely. Because right now, if you get caught in trouble, you're caught. That's it. There's not going to be a second chance. And that's something we do need to teach. And that's not fun. It's not right. And it's not fair. And I don't agree with it. It stinks. It stinks. But what I would say is, let's try and make a way of helping them use those skills they have.
We can't do that, Paulette, because, and I'm trying not to like leave this on a bad note, but a car wash is $100,000 down payment. It's $10,000 a month in water bills. What kid is going to be able to do that? I understand, like, car wash, if they have a driveway, that'd be great. But it's not, the best they can do is
if they do it for charity, and they do it as a donation, and they do it outside of where you are with the center, where they have water, because you have showers, so they'll have taps, so you need a hose pipe and sponges, and so you're not talking about,
where does that come from? I'm just asking. It's not, I'm not disagreeing. I wish
Listen,
that.
I think this is a big conversation, and it's
It
not
really
for
was.
now.
It was.
It's a big conversation,
sorry.
right? But
Yes.
let's not walk away from it. I don't walk away from things. Coach K will tell you that. You and Coach K definitely need to talk. But I think there's a bigger story here about how we can find the good in everybody, give everybody the opportunity to look within and find what they can do. And I really strongly believe that with all my heart, that everybody has something to offer and something to give. And we just need to look in and find it. So, Annie, I know you have to go, my lovely. Thank you, everybody.
Annie, you should really comment, my brother.
So all I want to do is welcome people. So Felipe has just joined us. Welcome to Paulette. Great to see you. And this is a great topic indeed. Thank you so much. I'd say that, of course, Sharon Rose, paying homage to Mrs. Cyrus. Adrenaline needs movement. A new movement works, but I didn't know why. So that's something good there for sure. There's a comment by Mike, I think might be a good one to leave us on. And then Mike's giving us a song, one of his songs to play. Mike, I'm trying to get there. I'm not trying to get there. I'll get there in a second. Right. I wonder, Paulette, I wonder. So for those who believe fear is imagining a future where God is absent, let that sink in. Imagine that. You know, I think, you know, look, you know, say again, I'm always one to admit I'd argued with you, Mike, not too long ago, but now there's a spiritual being, there's a spiritual element to everything that we do and who we are and what happens to us. So I get your point, Mike. You know, I think, you know, we can, I think, you know, maybe it's about building faith in children, belief in themselves, belief in the world being aligned to what they want. The belief in that the world is designed to give them joy. If they just face up to the situations that they have to, right? Face those first. It's a way of thinking, I think. It's a way of being, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Said Madam Tolu, I see you on our face on the LinkedIn. I also see who else do I see on LinkedIn? So Nelly, I see you as well. Tracy, our audiobook genius, glad you're here. So Nick, who mentioned earlier. I'm trying to see. So Tolu's here. Jane is here as well. Jane Long. So I'm glad you're here.
Oh, hi, Jane.
And I never want to miss anyone who joins us. So thank you so much, Paulette. Thank you so much. And your hour has gone. Okay, Sharon is here as well. So Sharon,
thank you, everybody. Absolutely wonderful.
Yes, we miss you, Paulette, but you're back now. Let's keep it going, Paulette. Let's keep it going.
Love you, Paulette.
If we ignore your comments,
on Amazon.
Oh, so Stanley is here as well. So welcome.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you.
It's Tuesday today, so it's Wednesday. Tomorrow is Power Thinking Day for all of us.
Yeah.
You know, we join, so I'll be there. So, you know,
and please do buy the books because they really, really do work. Sharon's here. That's our lovely lady, who has been amazing publishing all the beautiful photographs of the children reading the books, and I can't thank her enough. So Uganda all the way. That's what I say. And we're teaching and helping kids in Uganda. Amazing. So you know,
seeing teachers use Jack and Water in the classes is that's next level, right? That's a publisher. That's just next level. It's a great thing, Paulette. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much for all you do to, and of course, Michael, Mr. Calm, helped as well to get the books out there to Uganda. So we thank you all, my friends. Join us again in 2 weeks' time. I think next week is mental wellness.
Yes.
I'm going to drag Paulette back, kicking the script. Well, Paulette likes doing her rooms anyway, so
I do.
And so, you know, thank you so much, everyone. So, I'm going to play Mike's song to see us out. You know, say that. So, if you've got any final words to say to us today, my friends, now's your chance.
I meant to tell Carl he has a really cool voice. I don't know who he is, but he sounds like the voice from Star Trek or something. Like you just listen to him.
That's a compliment, Mr. Khan.
It really is.
Compliment.
Yeah.
Indubitably so. Indubitably so. Thank you very much. That was very ridiculous. That was
Let the force be with you.
Now you set him off, right? Good luck with
Maybe
that.
I could sing you a birthday song. Who knows?
No, let's end on say Mike's good song, not your birthday song, right? And it's about Jack and Water. So here goes, Paulette. I have no idea, but Mike is he's a musical genius. So let's hear what he has to say.
She retrained her heart to heal the young, turned her passion into purpose, work begun. Co-author of a movement, not-for-profits game, teaching kids that self-belief can ease the pain. Every child deserves to face their fears with measured thinking, not just tears. She's planting seeds of strength in every mind. Paulette Harlem, leaving no child behind. When the Walter's gonna be there in your present and your future too. So just stop and ask yourself, what would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter do? From boardrooms to the counseling chair, she pivoted with purpose, showing she cared. Jack and Walter, #1 bestseller worldwide. Stories that inspire, becoming every child's guide. She teaches resilience, skill by skill, slowing worries down until they're still. Approaching issues with a stronger mind, building generations one heart at a time. When the storm clouds gather and you don't know what to do, take a deep breath, clear your mind, let the answer come to you. Walter's gonna be there in your present and your future too. So just stop and ask yourself, what would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter do? Not for profit, but for every child's right to handle smaller challenges, to stand and fight. The bigger stuff takes longer, that's okay, but confidence begins with what we do today. Trustworthy souls and integrity shine at Mental Wellness Cafe. She draws the line between drowning in the darkness and finding light. She lifts them up, teaches them to hold on tight. When the storm clouds gather and you don't know what to do, take a deep breath, clear your mind, let the answer come to you. Walter's gonna be there in your present and your future too. So just stop and ask yourself, what would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter clear your mind? Give yourself headspace to think before you let the pressure make your spirit sink. Self-belief and talking to someone you trust, these are the tools that lift us from the dust. She champions the dignity of growing strong. Every child capable, they belong all along. Generations rising with the strength she's built. Paulette's legacy, a world without guilt. From Huntington to hearts across the globe, her compassion is the thread that she has woven and sewed. Adults and children, all walks of life, she's extending her hand through every kind of strife. Understanding, patience with the counselor's soul, making broken spirits feel completely whole. With Charlotte beside her, they both believe that every mind can learn, every heart can achieve. When the storm clouds gather and you don't know what to do, take a deep breath, clear your mind, let the answer come to you. Walter's gonna be there in your present, in your future too. So stop and ask yourself, what would Walter do?